Potspans and Pioneers. Today I'm going to talk about knowing whom and what you're leasing. We've recently had a problem. Well, it's not recently, we've continued to have a problem. Not only communicating, but understanding all the quote-unquote rules that have gone with this lease we signed, who we got this recommendation from a friend of my husband. It was a disaster from the beginning. And when I say that, I mean this offered us a place to shelter ourselves for a few months. It was a month-to-month. It was all bills included. But my video isn't about that. It's about making sure that when you lease a property, you ask all the right questions and you get the right answers, and doing your research. You know, I pride myself on being a researcher, and I have some level of real estate background. And not only have my husband and I been landlords, but we've each been tenants in our life. And over the span of the years that I've rented, I've not ever had this type of stress or this type of experience with a landlord. So what I'm going to tell you today, and I'm going to probably shut off the comments because this truly is not about engagement with my subscribers. This is about facts, and this is about how to treat people decently. And knowing what the laws are is important, but knowing, you know, for sure when you can exercise using those laws to your own benefit. You know, having a right to something is a blanket sheet of paper, but exercising that right for your own gain and doing something that you know is going to be putting stress and putting ending a relationship very poorly. And so I'm going to talk about some things that we've reported to this landlord and he has absolutely ignored. In our lease, it says that we are not to do any yard work, that he takes care of the yard. And as you can see, my husband had to mow this section of the grass to keep the fleas and ticks down and for us to be able to have our dogs be able to go outside, which was part of our agreement. The mailbox we had to purchase because this did not have a mail service here, which the landlord never told us. It was grueling to be able to get mail here. He doesn't even have a mailbox. He has an address, and his mail now comes in our box because his local friends decide not to read the address, and they let the landlord know that he has mail in our mailbox. Lovely. And if I can stretch over here, zoom in, I'm going to pass up my truck. The grass is just unbelievably high. Now, in defense of a landlord, which I always believe in telling the absolute circle of truth, he has had some health issues, but the lease states that he will provide the lawn service. So if he is unable to do that physically himself, whether it's from broke down machinery, whether it's from illness, he is to provide yard maintenance for this property. I have reported more than once the mice problem. Do you see that? This is low maintenance. A landlord that really just doesn't care, because that is an entry point. That is an entry point. He's also telling us that he's tolerating us putting items in the yard that he deems, I don't know, unsightly. Lawn furniture, unsightly? I thought lawn furniture goes in the lawn. Now, in his defense, again, we brought a mower back from Arkansas because we weren't going to stay there and we were going to repair it. Lawn furniture again, right there, lawn furniture. We had issue with the internet. He wanted to be physically in this place when the internet salesperson or the internet installer came. Even though they had had internet here before. We have had, you see that right up there? That draws the public to believe that this is a real estate office. And we voiced our concerns about having that sign up there because willy-nilly people stop in here and they think this is a real estate office. I had a woman actually argue with me that we rented wedding equipment, and we don't. We have to hold our trash for 1 week, and we can't have any trash in excess of a tall kitchen bag. I am used to taking my trash out every day. Why? Because it cuts down on bugs, mice, and everything else. But this landlord wants us to store our trash inside this cabin for 1 week. We can't recycle. Van Alstyne, Texas doesn't recycle, so we have more than a week's worth of trash because we're buying water bottles because you can't drink the water here, and I'll show you why. The trash, you have to walk way down there, and it's adjacent to another neighbor over there. Let that car pass. To walk down there, on top of that bend, it's wide open, it's not covered trash. So if it rains, the trash bins just fill up with water, or they sit in water. I'll bring you inside. So as I mentioned, this was a real estate office. Real estate offices don't really have bathrooms. They have a sink to wash your hands, and they have a toilet. So they have a half bath. This landlord decided to cut corners and not putting in everything correctly. He has this tub mounted over a door. See that? And right behind that door, there is a ton of spiders and spider webs. Because that's an open vented area. Cheap. Trying to cut corners. And when you're taking a bath or taking a shower, either one, you get about 1 inch of water in that tub. Because the water heater that he has here is a 20-gallon water heater. Very important to find out how big of a water heater you have when you have so many people in here. This little makeup right here is his way of hiding what's behind here. So none of this is covered. I'll take you through this. This is the kitchenette. And when I say kitchenette, that's what it is. There is a mini refrigerator, which I've put on top of a microwave cart because it can't sit on the floor and be plugged in. If you have more than one thing plugged in at a time, the breaker trips. There's no stove, so we have to cook off a heat element. No storage whatsoever. And it's a mess because we are getting ready to pack up and move out, and I've pulled a lot of stuff out. The sink sets extremely low. It's probably 25 inches off the ground. So if you're standing there washing dishes, this is just cheaply made. Oh, that's not all. Then we were provided with a washer and dryer. But wasn't in the lease. We have to put a little piece of cardboard every single time you wash. You got to put a piece of cardboard in here. Other than that, the machine doesn't run. And the dryer is all rusted out inside. Rust everywhere. I don't know if you can pick that up, but this is a mess. This is the dog area that he said that he would build for us. It's a 10 by 10. He didn't build it. He just bought panels to go in here. And if you look, I'm going to pan up here. I don't know if you're going to capture it. There's a ton of wasp nests, which I've told him about. There's spider webs that we fight every day. There was ants. I don't see them now. I've sprayed and sprayed and sprayed. There's ants everywhere, and he came and threw some andro on the ground. Andro on the ground, and your ants are crawling up your property into your roof line. Don't look for the root of the problem where the ants want to be going. Just put andro on the ground. So in conclusion of this video, the washing machine was not in the lease. The water heater was not in the lease. The trash policy was not in the lease. The mail situation was not in the lease. The water here is a co-op. We don't even know where the water is actually coming from here. But it's either so soft it's slimy. When you put it when you put the water in just a pot, say to boil an egg, it's so foamy and gray and slimy looking, you don't even want to put your food in it. We use water, bottled water, for every single thing that goes in our body, drinking water, everything, because this landlord did not tell us, did not describe to us, hey, what type of water system are you used to, because you may find a different type of system out here. Hey, just by the way, I only allow trash once a week. Oh, by the way, you're only going to be able to get 1 meg of internet. Oh, by the way, you're going to have to put in your own mailbox and figure out how to get your mail. Oh, and don't forget, you can't have UPS and FedEx drivers, any deliveries made that would impede or damage my road that I put in. But I can constantly call you and complain because, well, your drivers, like I own UPS, like I own FedEx, I can tell the driver you can't drive on that road. I have no ability to tell UPS or FedEx that they can't come deliver on this road. He wants them to park out on the street. And as we've seen through this video, there's cars coming back and forth. Now you may say, you're very unappreciative. You're very ungrateful. You're very dogmatic about, it sounds like that you knew all this stuff before you leased. No, I didn't know all this stuff before I leased. What I knew was we were going to lease a building that had previously been a real estate office that was modified to handle renting for a place to live. That's what I understood. Many of the things that have been a part of our lease that we've adhered to, and we've paid our rent on time. Several times the landlord has come to us asking us for the rent early because it's not convenient for him to wait till Monday when it's due. He wants the rent on a Saturday or a Friday for his convenience. So what I'm trying to tell you is be careful who you lease from, and be careful about asking the right questions when you're leasing a property, whether it's month to month, 6 months, 1 year, it doesn't matter. Ask the questions, because the only people that are unhappy are the people that are leasing here. The landlord told me yesterday that he has a right to bring people in here to look at this property anytime he wants. He has a right. Yes, you have a right. But when we looked at this property, it was vacant, and you made us wait to look at the property until it was vacant. I asked you as a courtesy to allow me 2 weeks to pack up and move out of here, which I would give you 2 weeks available to show this property. As a courtesy, because we've been good tenants. We've abided by everything that you've said. And you've told me and my husband that you have a right to do and come in and do whatever it is you want. Yes, sir, you have a right to do anything. But exercising that right is an option. We told you that our dogs were not people friendly. Before we signed the lease, we stood into this place and told you and your wife, our dogs are not friendly. We don't want them around any people. We don't want people walking in and out of here because they're guard dogs. That's their sole purpose. And being guard dogs. Now you're saying you didn't know that our dogs were vicious. They're not vicious. Their sole purpose is to protect us. So while you have a right to bring people into the cabin to show people, potential tenants, this place, I also have a right to sit inside while you do that, holding my dog on a leash. And you hoping that my dog doesn't bite you or a potential tenant after I've warned you that my dog is not friendly with people. It kind of works both ways. You can't have it your own way. So while he has a right to do whatever he wants because this is his property, absolutely. And if this were my property, I would have a right. But me choosing to exercise that right, that's on me. You do what's best for both parties. You don't do things for your own selfish greed and call yourself a Christian. The word Christian really means that you're gracious, you're kind, you're loving, which my husband and I have done throughout this whole entire time we've lived here. We've offered to help you. My husband offered to help you cut down trees. My husband has offered to do the yard. And we ask you one courtesy. Be careful, folks, what you lease and to whom you lease from. Because Mr. Calvin Hall and Van Alstyne, not a person I would rent from ever again. Not a person I would recommend as a real estate agent. Not a person I would want to ever, ever, ever have any dealings with ever again. We have about 25, 26 days to be here. And it ain't coming too fast. So, be warned. Read your lease. Ask questions. If you like taking, I don't know, 3-minute showers, hauling water to the bathtub every day, not having a stove, not having good clean water, living with rodents crawling under your house, dealing with spiders, ants, and wasps that are unmaintained, sign away. Oh, and let's not forget, you have to hoard your trash for a whole week. Now, you may take your trash out once a week, but that's not been my habit, because I'm intelligent enough to know that the more trash you hold in your house, the more susceptible you are to insects and bugs and infestation. Van Alstyne, Texas, you need to recycle. Shame on Van Alstyne for not recycling. Buyer, oh, actually, leaser beware on this one.